What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel, where we speak the truth, we're honest, and we give out takes on the Miami Dolphins. It is Friday, December 2nd, 2022, and the time has come. This is the preview for the Miami Dolphins San Francisco 49ers game this week. As many people are hyping this up to be game of the week. And it's a crucial game for both teams. There's a lot to talk about going into this game. You got one of the top offenses in the NFL against the best defense in the NFL in the San Francisco 49ers. You got the student versus the teacher with Mike McDaniel on the Dolphins side and Kyle Shanahan on the 49ers side. You got ex-49er players on the Dolphins. You got Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel going at it this week. You got all the doubters of the Miami Dolphins back, doubting the Miami Dolphins against the San Francisco 49ers, which, from the line, 49ers are 4-point favorites. So, but man, there's a lot to talk about going into this game. And I remember last week against the Texans, it was about an hour and a half before kickoff, and I told myself, this is the least nervous I think I've ever been before a Dolphins game. I had no worry that we were going to lose to the Texans last week. And wouldn't you know it, the Dolphins were winning at halftime 30-0 and went on to win that game 30-15. This week, on the other hand, I think this week, and, we have games against the Chargers, against the Buffalo Bills, against Green Bay coming up that I'll be nervous for sure. Especially the Buffalo game. Especially that Buffalo game. But I think this week against the San Francisco 49ers, I can't remember the last time I was this anxious and I was this nervous before a Dolphins game. And I feel like I say that because I'm not used to meaningful football in December. We had that in 2020, but it fell apart the last week. And the Dolphins were this close to making the playoffs, and they folded the last week. Last year, really wasn't meaningful football when we were playing terrible teams, and we were 4-7 going into December. But somehow, we ended up getting our record to 8-7. We were actually in the playoff picture for 1 week last year. And we got demolished by the Tennessee Titans, and it all goes away. This year it feels like a different story, though, with this team and this roster and this coaching staff and the way Tua Tagovailoa is playing. The Dolphins are 8-3. The Buffalo Bills are in first place after they beat the Patriots last night. I feel like this is a different team. I'm still extremely nervous going into a game, but going into the season, this is all we wanted as Dolphin fans. This is all we wanted. We wanted meaningful football games in December with this team. Now, can that get us into the postseason? I hope so, because I feel like we deserve it. I feel like we should be in the postseason. But these next 3 games, and it starts Sunday, these next 3 games are really going to tell who the Miami Dolphins are. How much of a threat are the Miami Dolphins? How much more preparation a team's going to put in when they look on their schedule and they're like, oh shit, we play the Miami Dolphins this week. It's going to be a long week of preparation. You want that. This is what we signed up for as Dolphin fans before the season. I didn't think we'd be 8-3 and in the situation we are close to first place in the AFC East. But we signed up for meaningful football games in December, and damn it, we're getting them. So there's a lot to talk about going into this game. I thank you all so much for joining me. Before we get into anything Dolphins, 49ers, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell I keep forgetting to say that. I really haven't said that a lot. I really should start saying that. Turn on the bell for notifications so that you don't miss a video when I upload. And that's going to be the case Sunday. Because Sunday, I will be back for the post-game recap, but at a different time with a 4 o'clock kickoff. I'll try to get the post-game recap up Sunday night around 8 o'clock, 8:30. So you're going to want to turn on the notification bell. And if you haven't already, be sure to go ahead and check out the past couple videos I've had. We did a news video yesterday. I gave my thoughts on Bart Scott's disgusting comments about Tua on ESPN's Get Up. I talked more about the San Francisco-Miami game. And there's some other Dolphins content as well. The post-game recap from last week. If you want to go check that out, you're more than welcome to. It'll be at the end of the video, the last 20 seconds. It'll just pop up, and you can click on it, and it'll take you right to the video. So, before we get into the matchup, Miami's offense against San Francisco's defense and Miami's defense against San Francisco's offense, two things I want to talk about real quick. Actually, three. Number one, Teron Armstead. Most importantly, Teron Armstead. He has a pec strain. It's not a torn pec. If it was a torn pec, he would be out for the season. It's a pec strain. And Wednesday, Mike McDaniel in the press conference was talking about how professional Teron Armstead is with dealing with injuries, and saying how throughout his entire career, Teron Armstead has a great history of playing through some really bad injuries. As again, he had this same injury in 2018 with the New Orleans Saints, and how tough of a player Teron Armstead is. Teron Armstead, so Mike McDaniel, he didn't rule out Teron Armstead that quickly on Wednesday. He said, it's a day-to-day process, and we're going to try to get him out on the practice field. Today, at the press conference, Mike McDaniel said Teron Armstead will do limited practice reps today, and is not ready to rule him out for the game Sunday against the 49ers. However, Austin Jackson is out, which I don't have an issue with. We can just put Brennan Shell right back at right tackle. That's where he's best at. We saw him last week at left tackle. He was trash. Put him back at right tackle. And the time he had at right tackle, I thought he was very good. So, I have no problem with that. Hopefully Austin Jackson heals up. But, we'll see. And we're going to talk about it. And when we get to the matchups, of course, it's the big talking point going into Sunday. Is Teron Armstead going to play for the Miami Dolphins? Because if he is, that is huge against the San Francisco 49ers defensive line. If he's not playing, I'm even more nervous for this game. And no offense, if he doesn't play, I think our chances of winning actually go down against the 49ers. So, we'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about it a little bit more, and if he doesn't play, what could happen. But two more things, then we get into the matchups. Just a real quick rooting guide for Sunday. Other teams around the NFL, we could sit back and chill out, watch the 1 o'clock games before our game comes on at 4. It's playoff season, so you got to start cheering for teams to lose. For this week, for the Dolphins' sake, We need the Denver Broncos to beat the Baltimore Ravens, which I don't think is going to happen. Not a chance. The Minnesota Vikings to beat the Jets. I think that could be a good possibility of happening. The Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Tennessee Titans. And we also need the Cincinnati Bengals to beat the Chiefs. Just in case we win and the Chiefs lose, Dolphins are the 1 seed in the AFC. So, and also the Raiders to beat the Chargers. So, for wild card's sake. So, there we go. I guess we could just add this into the preview. The weather on Sunday. I don't know the situation. Like, I don't know if it's true, but sometimes the weather app is, not as factual as other weather apps. But the weather app I have on my phone says for San Francisco Sunday, it's going to be 50% chance of rain. Obviously, that's not good. Because we saw last year how we played against the Titans in the rain, and it did not end well. And, if it rains, it's going to be a whole different game plan for the Miami Dolphins. I don't know, but I'm just hoping that it doesn't rain. But I have it on my radar here on the weather app. It says Sunday in San Francisco is going to be 50% chance of rain with a high of 57 degrees. Didn't think we would have the possibility of a cold weather game in San Francisco, but here we are. It's set to be a high of 57 and a 50% chance of rain. So, Mike McDaniel, work your magic, man. Work your magic. All right, let's dive into this matchup. Let's dive into this puppy. I'm going to get the stats up on my phone. Here. Stats. There we go. We're going to talk about the Dolphins defense against the 49ers offense first. Usually I go the visiting team's offense against their home team's defense. But this week I want to save that for last because that's what the game's going to come down to. So, the Dolphins defense against the 49ers offense. Overall, the Miami defense is ranked 17th with 343 yards given up per game. I believe last week against the Houston Texans, they were ranked around 22nd overall. So they had a good game right now. They're ranked at the middle of the pack in the NFL at 17th. San Francisco 49ers offense ranked 10th overall with 358 yards per game. So they are a top 10 offense. They have a lot of really good weapons, which we'll talk about. The Dolphins pass defense is ranked 21st, giving up 250 yards per game, which that could be effective for the 49ers and how they get the ball out quickly. The 49ers pass game on offense is ranked 13th, 243 yards per game. And the Dolphins run defense ranked 9th with 109.5 yards given up per game. And the 49ers run offense is ranked 11th with 124 yards per game. Now, the 49ers lost a key piece to their backfield. Elijah Mitchell tore his MCL last week against the Saints, and Kyle Shanahan went out, I believe it was Wednesday, and said that Mitchell has a torn MCL, and he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So that means that Christian McCaffrey is going to get the load at the run game. And the 49ers run game with Christian McCaffrey the past couple weeks hasn't been the prettiest. I'm just going to go through his stats for the past couple games that he's played in. Against the Saints, he had 11 carries for 32 yards. against the Arizona Cardinals, he had 7 carries for 39 yards. And against the Chargers a couple weeks ago, he had 14 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. In that game, Elijah Mitchell actually had 18 carries for 90 yards. So now with Mitchell hurt, that's huge for the 49ers run defense because their only real back that they have is Christian McCaffrey. And he has knee irritation, but he said he feels great. He's going to play, so he's a go. And the last time the Dolphins played Christian McCaffrey, granted, he was on the Panthers. Panthers not as good as the San Francisco 49ers. But last year, the Dolphins played Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey had 10 carries for 31 yards before he got injured and was done for the game. So the Dolphins' run defense did really good against, and ignore the motorcycle out there, please. The Dolphins' run defense did very good against Christian McCaffrey. And they're going to have to do really good against Christian McCaffrey again this week because you don't want him to get wild. You don't want him going crazy all over the ground because then they'll just feed the rock to Christian McCaffrey. This is another test for the Miami Dolphins run defense. And they're a top 10 run defense, man. They're really good at stopping the run. And they have not let up 100 yards to a running back at all this year. The closest was Breece Hall back at Week 5, who had 98 rushing yards. But besides that, the Dolphins have not allowed a 100-yard rusher against Joe Mixon. The Patriots run Stevenson, Cook from the Vikings, Najee Harris with the Steelers, Jamal Williams, Nick Chubb. None of them have rushed over 100 yards against the Dolphins. So this is actually a really good test for the Dolphins' run defense. Once again, going up against Christian McCaffrey this week. And they need to stop Christian McCaffrey. Because if they do, then they can force Jimmy G to throw. And why I said earlier, the Dolphins' pass defense, which is ranked 21st, is big for the 49ers because the 49ers love to dink and dunk. Remember how everybody last year was calling Tua Tagovailoa? He's a dink and dunk quarterback. He doesn't take the shots downfield. He doesn't like throwing it 40, 50 yards downfield. That's actually Jimmy Garoppolo. If you guys watched the Mexico game on Monday night against the Arizona Cardinals, that's all he did. Literally. That is all Jimmy Garoppolo did, was dump it off to George Kittle, and George Kittle would get a 40-yard touchdown. He made one good wide-open throw to George Kittle in that game, which resulted in a touchdown. It's a great play by Jimmy Garoppolo. But besides that, if you guys watched this game against the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, that's all he did, was dump it off to Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey would make the play. Dump it off to Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel would do the work. Dump it off to Brandon Ayuk, and Brandon Ayuk would do the work. And they have some, like I just mentioned, Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. They have some great, great weapons, man. And it's going to be key to get in Jimmy Garoppolo's face for Christian Wilkins, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, to get in Jimmy Garoppolo's face. So then when it comes to 3rd and long, and they do their dink and duck to Deebo Samuel or to Christian McCaffrey, the Dolphins don't let them up, and they play in front. They play in front of the receiver and hopefully make the tackle and get them off the field. Force Jimmy Garoppolo to make bad mistakes. Force Jimmy Garoppolo to make bad mistakes, make bad throws, get turnovers. Because we need them in this game against the defense that we're playing. We need to create turnovers against Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy Garoppolo can turn the ball over. We've seen it. We've seen Jimmy Garoppolo make some bad plays. You go back to the Denver Broncos game, 10 points. Go back to the Kansas City Chiefs game, threw an end zone pick to end the half. Jimmy Garoppolo is capable of making bad mistakes. And the Dolphins need to capitalize on that. They need to get the turnovers. They need to sack and pressure Jimmy Garoppolo and set the offense up for success. I don't know who's going to be matching up on who. If I had to guess, I would say we put Eric Rowe on George Kittle. Just have Eric Rowe shadow George Kittle all day, because Eric Rowe is known for covering tight ends, but the Dolphins need to do better against tight ends. So, got to be key to watch out for George Kittle going off against the Dolphins. Deebo Samuel, I imagine he'll probably get covered by Xavier Howard. And Brandon Ayuk, I imagine he'll probably get covered by Kader Kohler. So, see what happens, man. But, do I think the Dolphins defense can make some plays? I do. I do think they can make them plays against the 49ers. And yeah, the 49ers are a top 10 offense in the NFL. They went crazy against the Arizona Cardinals. But, there's been some games this year that they really haven't put up massive numbers at all. Just look at last week. Even though they didn't need to, because their defense was just outstanding, they put up 13 points. And they got a touchdown off a tip pass by Tyrann Mathieu, who tipped it right into the arms of Jawan Jennings. So, force Jimmy Garoppolo to make bad throws and get pressure in his face, make him panic. So, outside of Trent Williams, who's a really good left tackle, who I'm sure will be on Bradley Chubb, 49ers don't have a great offensive line. So, see what happens. But now we're going to move into the big topic. The Dolphins offense against the San Francisco defense. This is where the game is going to be won. Is the Dolphins offense going to create enough plays, get the big plays that they've been getting all season? Or is it going to be the San Francisco defense who takes over, especially in the second half? Because in the second half this season, they've had, in the second half, the past 4 games, they haven't given up a point. They haven't given up a point in the second half to the Rams, the Chargers, the Cardinals, and the Saints. That's a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat. Their defense is ridiculously good. Nick Bosa, Chardavius Ward, Talafunga Hufunga. I think that. Oh, shit. How do you pronounce his name? Talalona Hufunga. I'm so sorry I mispronounced his name. But there's some. Fred Warner is the best linebacker, in my opinion, in the NFL. Eric Armstead's coming back for the 49ers. And this is big. If Teron Armstead doesn't play, you're looking at Greg Little at left tackle against the 49ers defensive front. That scares me. That scares me going into Sunday. Because Greg Little, he ain't it, bro. And if we have Greg Little, I'm telling you right now, if we have Greg Little at left tackle, he needs help. He cannot be over there by himself. We need, and I said this on Monday. I believe Durham Smythe and Alec Ingold need to play a big part in the blocking game if Teron Armstead is not there. Shit, even if Teron is there, because more than likely, if he plays, we're getting like a 60-70% Teron Armstead. So we're not getting a fully healthy Teron Armstead against the 49ers. We need help. I think we need Durham Smythe, we need Alec Ingold to step up in the blocking game against the 49ers if Greg Little's in there, because he cannot be on an island by himself. He just can't, because he's going to get burned. And Shell on right tackle against Bosa. Not confident about that one. Not confident about that one. This game, I'm telling you right now, this game is going to come down to whether or not the offensive line can protect Tua against the San Francisco front. If they cannot, and Tua is getting sacked left and right, the defense is forcing turnovers, it's going to be a long day for the Miami Dolphins. A long day. If they can get a little bit of protection, Tua can step up, make the plays that he needs to. We should stay in this game. We should be able to stay in the game and compete with the 49ers. A key thing that we're going to need is get the ball out of Tua's hands quickly. That means quick passes to Tyreek Hill, quick passes to Jalen Waddle, and we're also going to need Trent Sherfield, River Craycraft, and Cedric Wilson to make plays, because we all know the center of attention is going to be Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They're going to be the center of attention, and that means Trent Sherfield, who's been making plays, is going to have to continue to make plays. River Craycraft is going to have to make plays this week. Cedric Wilson is going to have to make plays. Mike Gesicki, who I feel like has been absent the past 2 games, he's going to have to make plays. So that way, the 49ers just aren't focused on Hill and Waddle. They got to put some attention on those guys, and now we can get the plays to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle that we want. And we can allow Tua to ball out with the protection from the offensive line. I want to hope that Teron plays on Sunday. But honestly, if he doesn't play, I'm not going to be mad. Call me crazy. But if Teron doesn't play on Sunday, I'm not going to be mad, because we still need him for this final stretch. We still need him for the Chargers, the Bills, all the games the rest of the season. And if we can allow him to rest, get healthy, I'm willing to lose him for 1 game. I know it might be ugly with Greg Little out there, and we might not win, but I'm willing to risk 1 game without Teron Armstead so that he's healthy for the Chargers and for the Bills and for Green Bay and for the other games for the rest of the season. But if he plays, then hey, let's freaking go, man. If he plays, let's go to war with the 49ers. So, I'm really looking forward to the game. Win or lose, this is what we wanted. I said it earlier. This is all we wanted at the beginning of the season. We wanted meaningful football games in December with high playoff contention. That's all we wanted. And I'm not going out here and saying the Dolphins are going to go to San Francisco and beat the 49ers. 'Cause to be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to. I'm not saying they're not going to win, but I'm not as confident that they're going to beat the 49ers. They're a really good team, San Francisco. In my opinion, y'all might disagree with me, but I think they're the most complete team in the NFC. Their offense is top 10, and their defense is the best in the NFL. I think San Francisco is the most complete team in the NFC, and out of this 6-game stretch, they're the toughest team we're going to play, in my opinion. So, we'll see what happens Sunday, but regardless, I'll be back right here talking about it Sunday night on the Big Fight Fuel channel. Again, it's a 4 o'clock kickoff, so it'll be a later post-game recap. It'll be up around 8:30. So I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. As I just said, I'll be back Sunday night for the post-game recap of the Miami Dolphins San Francisco 49ers game. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me on the channel today. You can follow me on Twitter and TikTok at Colin_Joseph. And guys, let's go get it, man. Let's go get this W. So I'm out of here. Have a good one. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy and fins up. I'm out. Peace.